So first things first, you've been in this crash. The first thing I would do is, if you can, I would call 911. Let's get some personnel out there. Let's get a police officer out there. Now, if you're in a lot of pain, don't move. Wait for them to come. Right. Wait for the doctors to come, the ambulance and all that. But if you can move, I would recommend getting a view of your surroundings, seeing if there are any witnesses, looking at who the other car was or multiple cars involved in the crash. If you have a phone on you that you can access, I would take pictures. If you can get out of the car, as long as you're in a safe place, pull over to a safe place if you're not in a safe place. And if you can get out of the car, I would recommend getting out and trying to document the scene. Are there any witnesses? If there are, if you feel well enough to do so, try to get their name and number, because a lot of people will stop for a second and they'll leave before the police get there who are doing an investigation. And then we won't know who those people are. We'll never get their stories. And the reason why that's important is in some cases, it's your word against someone else's word as to how the crash happened, who's at fault. And so if there are any witnesses who can corroborate your story, you got to get them before they leave. Take a lot of pictures of both cars. Make sure you get their license plate, all of that. If you have cuts, bruises, abrasions, take pictures of that, document it, because that oftentimes will show the severity of the impact that you had. And those bruises go away soon. And so that helps an attorney prove your case when we have those photos, when we have those documents. And any kind of, like I said before, in any kind of case where it's a he said, she said, those are tough cases, because just recently they changed the law in Florida where if it was a 50-50 case, let's just say they say you're 50% at fault, right? Or they say you're 51% at fault, right? That means the other party's 49% at fault. Well, you could still get 49% of the value of your case. If your injuries are worth 100,000, you're 51% at fault. They're 49% at fault. You can still get $49,000 for your pain and suffering. The new law says if you are over 50% at fault, in that same scenario, let's just say you're 51% at fault, you get zero. And so determining liability, who is at fault, is paramount importance now after they changed the law. And so whenever you're in that 50-50, he said, she said, you've got to find some other witnesses. If you have a dash cam, great, because that takes all the guesswork out of it. That takes a lot of the proof out of it. You got the proof. But if you don't have that, if you need witnesses, and if you don't have witnesses and it's your word against another word, it's really tough to prove those cases. And we've had to now turn away a lot of cases in that situation where in the past we wouldn't turn them away. So you need to protect yourself. Now, if it's a clear cut, they hit me from behind, that's one thing. But not every case and not every situation is in black and white, is clear cut. And you don't want to be that person in court saying, well, he ran into me. And the other guy says, well, he ran into me. And then the jury's like, oh, who do we believe? And if they're in that position, you're going to lose. And you don't want to lose a case in court, because then that's thousands of dollars that could come out of your own pocket. And it's a high stakes game. And so, you want to make sure that, we take care of the liability part, proving who's at fault right from the beginning. When you're in a crash, it's hard to, have that frame of mind. But, if you, God forbid if you ever are, just try to, be aware of your surroundings, who may have witnessed it. If there are any cameras, any businesses around that we could ask for video footage, anything that we can use to help prove your case could be vitally important. And so those are unfortunate things you need to think about right after you're in a crash and you have that adrenaline running through you and you're like discombobulated. But you got to try to get it together as soon as you can, if you can, and get whatever evidence you can to help prove your case.